Anybody who voted for the Liberals again.
Canada has become a violent third world shithole.
Canada is so fucked.
I made a video that went viral talking about how Canada will become India if the Liberal government gets elected again.
Don't give a about your country. You know what country I care about? My country, Canada.
What the fuck, Canada? This is so grim.
This is Vancouver, Canada, a city that made every drug legal.
Canada sucks. Not actually, but you know what does suck about Canada?
Guys, it's over. Like, Canada is officially POOR.
I'm going to say this bluntly. Canada is done.
Absolutely disgusting. I do not understand how Canadians want to be punished again for 4 or 5 more years.
23,746 Canadians have died.
Welcome to the Canadian Rant. And today we need to talk honestly because sugarcoating is over. Canada has become unlivable for the average person. You feel it in your bank account, at the grocery store, when you pay rent, when you check your bills. The dream is gone, and what's left doesn't feel like a future. It feels like survival. People are working harder than ever and somehow falling further behind. Families can't afford meat, students can't afford rent, seniors can't retire, and young people have already given up on owning a home. This isn't just a rough patch. It's a breakdown of a country that used to give people hope. It's not dramatic to say it anymore. People are scared. People are angry. People feel abandoned. And what hurts the most is the silence from the government, the media, and the people who are supposed to protect us. So today, we're saying out loud what millions of Canadians are whispering. Canada is becoming unlivable, and we need to talk about it.
All right, I'm going to put something out there that's controversial, and I bet you any money, about 80% of Canadians agree. I don't give a f*** about your country's problems. I don't care about Ukraine and Russia, Israel and Palestine, whether Pakistan, India, or all of them are warring. I don't care if Bangladesh can't figure out whether they have a doodle or not, or if they need to learn how to be better workers. I don't give a f*** about your country. You know what country I care about? My country, Canada. I care about the deficit we're in. I care about the fact that majority of Canadians have a hard time shopping and affording their food. I have a big problem, and I care about the fact that Canadians can barely afford to pay rent or find an apartment. I care that our shelters are overloaded. I care that our social funding isn't spent on Canadians. I care that our tax dollars are not spent on Canadians. I care that they get sent to the rest of the world while Canada suffers. So I don't give a f*** about your country.
Canada sucks. Not actually, but you know what does suck about Canada? Is everywhere where the weather is somewhat decent to live costs $1 million. And anywhere that doesn't cost $1 million, it's like negative 47 degrees outside 6 months of the year.
This is Vancouver, Canada, a city that made every drug legal. Drug addiction, overdoses, homelessness, and crime.
Damn. Keep driving, drive. All drugs are good and balanced. God made all drugs.
A few side effects of decriminalizing every drug since January 2023. The city's goal was to make using drugs safer by making them legal. But many Canadians think it's done the exact opposite. So I went to downtown Vancouver with my friend Kevin, a social worker and drug addiction specialist, to see the impact decriminalizing drugs has had on the city.
Guys, it's over. Like, Canada is officially POOR because it's garbage day and somebody just stole my garbage bin. I don't know how much a garbage bin costs, but like, damn. And it was the big black one, by the way. Anyways, guess I have to buy a new garbage bin. Where do you even buy black garbage bins?
23,746 Canadians have died while awaiting medical treatment. This is what happens when you flood the country with millions of immigrants and asylum seekers and not do anything to beef up the healthcare. I know you're going to say healthcare is a provincial problem, but the immigration, that's federal, and that's what's flooding this country. So I'm wondering, out of the 23, almost 24,000, how many were the newbies, seeing as they go to the head of the line?
Canada has become a violent third world shithole. If I could give you any advice at all, it'd be to learn how to fight, learn combat skills. You're gonna need them because nobody is coming to save you. The cops already told you they've got other priorities. They'd rather protect politicians than Canadian citizens.
Well, folks, how are we now? Absolutely disgusting. I do not understand how Canadians want to be punished again for 4 or 5 more years. I don't understand. My kids, I mean, that's going to put some of my children close to 30 years old by the time this is done, and they're still not going to own a goddamn house. They're still going to live at home with me. The cost of living is going to go up. Taxes are going to go up. Carbon tax is coming back. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. It's coming. Man, you libtards, what the fuck? How did you, I understand the I'm okay, fuck you syndrome, but let's go. Come on. I don't care about anyone's beliefs or anything. I just wanted equality across the board. We're not getting that. This sticks with the minority, like the people that doesn't even matter. Fuck. Still support you, Pierre. The guy I volunteered for got in, but that doesn't change much.
Canada is so fucked. Reason 1, gas prices are only affordable around an election. Reason 2, if you make a bunch of money, they just take a bunch more money. So you're always broke. It's impossible to get ahead in Canada because CRA will just come a knocking. But point 3 is those CRA agents, I'm not even sure all of them have passed a criminal record check because in my opinion, you should have to be in Canada for a few years before you're dealing with people's SIN numbers, taxation. You know, maybe you should get a math class. I don't know. But when they hire foreigners, either in call centers out of country or even in country, I think there needs to be a little more protection because we, number 4, are inflicted by scams nonstop. They don't stop and there's no enforcement to make them stop. So in Canada's so fucked because it doesn't actually have an enforcement department that you can complain to about getting scammed. They just say, it's on you. There's no actual laws against it. That's why we're being targeted. So number 5 is we're targeted because we have no choice but to continuously pay because we sign contracts every day with our words. The way we communicate with one another in English is nothing less than contract law. So, you know, if you pay CRA $1 single, that's a contract. By getting your SIN number, that's a contract. You're agreeing to pay them because you're participating in Canada. I don't know. Is it worthwhile having a baby and before it's born, try to get it like an out-of-country passport? I don't know. Would it work? Like, yeah, the baby's just born. It's 1 year old. I want to apply for a Swedish passport. Would that work? I don't know. But Canada's so fucked, it doesn't matter. You can't make more because they'll just take more. So at the end of the day, have a good one. Working for that dollar. The almighty dollar you buy materialistic crap with. Good job. Awesome. Glad you're filling your life full of goodness.
Canada in chaos. What's going wrong? Canada is on the brink of becoming a failed state. Housing market is a disaster. Food prices much worse here than US. Hospitals are dysfunctional. Anger and depression everywhere with no hope. This is how Canadians describe Canada at the moment. But what happened? Let's take a look. In 2014, Canada's GDP per capita was 83% of US GDP. But in 2023, it went down to 65%. At the same moment, Canada's population increased by 9.2%, and US population only by 6.5%. In 2024, the average housing price in Canada was approximately $539,000, compared to about $412,000 in the USA. But the average monthly salary in Canada was only around $3,900, while in the United States, it was approximately $4,700. If you think food prices have risen significantly in the US, the increase in Canada in 2024 was 10.8% higher than in the US. The unemployment rate in Canada is approximately 58.5% higher than in the United States. Healthcare and childcare are more accessible in Canada due to government subsidies and lower costs. However, a shortage of daycare spots and hospital beds significantly offsets these advantages, creating challenges for families and patients. And on top of it, Canadians pay 22% more taxes than Americans relative to the size of their economies. You've seen those signs that say, in emergency, break glass. Well, it's time to break the glass. Deputy Governor Carolyn Rogers.
I'm going to say this bluntly. Canada is done. And if you live here, you feel it, even if you pretend not to. The cost of living is insane. The politics are woke beyond repair. The laws make no sense. And the government feels like it's steering the country right into the ground. When I travel and people hear I'm Canadian, I get the same reaction. I'm sorry. And honestly, same. So many people I know have already left Costa Rica, Mexico, Europe because they saw where this is headed. And more Canadians are waking up and asking the same thing. How do I leave? Here's the truth. You can. There are better, safer, more affordable countries. You pick a place, get the right visa, make a plan, and go. This is one reason I'm so happy I'm already building my own health and wellness business. If I stayed dependent on my flying career in Canada, I'd be stuck. Entrepreneurship gives you real freedom, the ability to work from anywhere and choose a country that actually aligns with your values. I will be leaving Canada, and inside my community, I'll be breaking down the options, the process, and how to create location freedom so you're not trapped in a collapsing system. If you're unhappy and watching Canada fall apart in real time, here's your permission slip. You're allowed to leave. You're allowed to start over. You're allowed to choose freedom. If you're a freedom lover like me, follow at Rise, Heal, Thrive. Lots of love.
What the fuck, Canada? This is so grim. It came out that more than 23,000 Canadians died waiting for medical care last year. And that's an increase of 3% year over year. And by the way, we're at over 100,000 people since 2018 who've died waiting for care. The worst offenders are, no surprise, Ontario #1, and Quebec #2. And then after that, you have the list of the other provinces. And before you come at me saying that we need to spend more money on healthcare to fix this issue, wrong, because we are at an all-time high, historical high of $244 billion a year spending. By the way, this represents $6,000 per person per year, which is an increase of threefold over what it was in 1990. We rank as one of the highest per capita medical spending in the G7, and yet we fall behind everyone in terms of doctors per capita, MRI machines per capita, beds per capita. And of course, our wait times are some of the highest in the developed world. And let that be a cautionary tale to the Americans who look up north thinking that our single-payer healthcare system is the best. Guys, you have it much better down there. And don't let Canadians who are brainwashed into thinking they have the best system ever tell you otherwise. Canada falls behind Germany, Switzerland, France, Sweden, Finland in terms of healthcare, and we pay more than all of them. And to Canadians, it's about time you wake up. The system is completely screwed up. And guess what? It ain't getting any better.
I made a video that went viral talking about how Canada will become India if the Liberal government gets elected again. Since that video, the Liberal government was elected again. And as you can see, Canada is becoming India. They claimed they would slow the immigration, and people were like, they have the same policy as the Conservatives. It's the same immigration policy. Well, the problem with the Liberal government is that they never follow through on the constructive policies. They just say them to sound good, and then nothing happens. So as you can look around, you can see, and you can look at the stats, the immigration has not slowed down. I think it's 580-some thousand in 2025 alone, which has already blown through the target. And what are we, just over halfway through 2025. We need to normal the talk about immigration, and we need to start demanding that we put checks and balances in place. You can look over in England and see what's happening for the safety of their citizens with all the assaults, children getting assaulted. It's absolutely horrific. We're 5 years behind them. We're 5 years behind them right now, and right now we're looking at 2 to 3 more years of Liberal policy, which is going down that same path. Because remember, Mark Carney's in the same gang as Keir Starmer. It's the same group that wants to destroy countries. So normalize this conversation, talk about it, and if we don't change this, we're going to have the same situation that the UK has on their hands.
For anybody who voted for the Liberals again with Carney, after 10 years of liberal destruction, dictatorship, and absolute dismantling of this country financially through Trudeau, I wonder what these people are thinking now. I'd love to genuinely hear what you feel if you voted for the Liberals. Now it's 150 days in. And maybe people thought, you know what? Maybe people thought, you know what? Carney's different. He's going to be better. Maybe there was a glimmer of hope. Maybe I had hope. But it's 150 days in. What has he done? I mean, I saw something today. Trump had 182 executive orders that he put in place to make change. What has Carney done? Besides, he took a vacation. I think he's been on vacation the whole time. He gave a lot of money to fund the CBC. This is, to further, propagate him and the Liberals. And you're not allowed to walk in the woods in Nova Scotia without getting fined. I mean, that's liberal. So I just wonder what you're thinking now. Maybe this is finally the straw in the camel's back where we realize we need a complete change in our government to save this beautiful country. Murder, rape, crime, everything through the roof. Immigration out of control. Nobody can afford anything. This all came from the Liberals. It all came from the Liberals. Really hoping for a change here, friends. I really miss my country, don't you? Beautiful country that we loved. Feeling peaceful and safe and hopeful. Just a beautiful country. It's been turned into the ground. How do you feel about this? I'd love to hear how you feel about this. I genuinely...
Hey guys, I'm going to make this video because you know what? The shit show going on here in Canada is beyond ridiculous. Now, we all know the little strife that's going on with the American, Donald Trump imposing tariffs on Canada, Canadians backlashing back and forth, whatever, and the ongoing, I guess, joke for Canada to be the 51st state. Although, there's a lot of political strife and joking going on, I'm here to tell you, whether or not Canada is up for sale, it should be up for sale. I'm going to explain a lot. In my half a century of being alive here, being in business, working various jobs and all that, it's actually, believe it or not, it would be beneficial for Canada just to come on board and be one big conglomerate country, a North American country. Here's why. You see, a lot of the manufacturing base in Canada has left. There's very few businesses out there that are even producing. Okay? I'm one of the last few manufacturers who frankly has had enough. While everybody else is leaving, I'm seeing businesses flocking to the yes, it's just not worth it here. I actually decided to cave in also. Okay? What does this mean for Canada? We don't have an economic base. We don't. There's only a few sectors, like in the mining industry, the supply of goods, and that's it. That's all we got. The majority of our, I guess, GDP is in fucking sales and retail bullshit. Nowadays, that shit's online. It's virtual. So there is no manufacturing base, and what that means is people are out of a job. Regardless of what you hear or the statistics you hear from the government, our fucking unemployment rate is low, and all, that's complete bullshit. They're just fucking around with the numbers. I'm here to tell you, manufacturing and a lot of businesses, we've had enough. It's very difficult to make a buck here because when you make that buck, you're taxed at double the rate, so you're not making money. And a lot of the manufacturing, so to speak, is not for the Canadian consumers or industry, because there isn't any. We export to the U.S. And that's the problem. There are a lot of people in business who've realized, especially after the pandemic, who've realized I've wasted an entire life striving, to make a good living, to make a goal, be successful. We're all in the same boat, to the point where time isn't in our favor. We're getting old. For myself, I've got 10 years until I retire. And then you look back and wonder, you know what? I think enough is enough. We got to go to the U.S. If you're going to make any money, you have to go. You have to go to a district that it's cheaper to operate. Less taxes, less burden. That's it. And that's the realization. So what does that leave the average Canadians who can't leave? There are no jobs. There's no economic prospect for the average person, the average worker. We have nothing here. Unless you're in specific industries, again, like the resource sector, you're not going to do well. I'm seeing even a lot of like retail and especially restaurants. They're leaving. Of course, nobody can afford to go and eat. That's not even a viable industry to open up a fucking restaurant. It's not. Find something else to do. But here's the thing. There isn't. Manufacturing, production, labor, skill work, they're all moving. You make more money in the U.S. And if you're selling already to the U.S., you'd be stupid to continue operating here in Canada when you can go there where it's cheaper, and especially with all these tariffs, you won't have any tariffs. You're based in the U.S., and that's what I'm doing. I've already set up shop, or we're in the final process. I got a place, address in the U.S., whatever. Now it's a matter of just how to organize for a little while, for a year or two, a couple of years, to, the travel and that kind of the logistics of that. But I've had enough, man. Fuck it. You're not making money. You think it's through my personal experience. When times are good or they get good, something happens, especially on the government level, where it's like, bam, somehow they fuck you over, and then it turns around, it gets better again, and then bam, you get fucked over again. How many times can industry continue to take it up the ass being fucked over? So with regards to Canada, like, guys, if you have the opportunity just to get the fuck out, go. We will not even be in recovery mode after the shit show politics with the fucking Liberal government and fucking dickwad Trudeau. Even if another party gets in, like the Conservatives, it's going to be decades by the time we even see a glimmer of any recovery. But for a lot of us, time is up. I'm not going to wait 10 years to find a sign to recover, where it's that time for me to call it quits, to retire. Like, it makes zero fucking sense. When you see the recovery, the prospect of that in 10 years, fuck it, I don't have 10 years. I'm going to go down, make my fucking money, and that's it. And that's all industry. They're all flocking. My partners, my partners, like even the contacts, they're already based in the States, and that's where I'm headed. Guys, Canada has nothing to offer the people, the citizens, with regards to work environment and living. Okay? So if you're out there thinking of, I don't know, immigrating here, don't even fucking bother. You're gonna have a tough time the second you step in this country. my advice to a lot of Canadians, if you're in an industry or some other job where you're doing okay and you're getting old and fine, you could stay, just bear it and all that. But for a lot of people, we just had enough getting the shaft up the wazoo by our fucking government, the incompetence and negligence of our government. Enough. No. So for myself and a lot of the industry, like, I feel sorry for Canada and the citizens who frankly are going to be hard struck to even find a fucking job. The unemployment, don't listen to the government. The unemployment is extremely high. The numbers are being fudged. Okay, they're being fucking fudged. And I know that firsthand. Alright? So yeah, good luck Canada, man. I'd jump ship. I'd fucking jump ship. Go to the US, man. That's where you're gonna make your wealth, you make your fortunes, make your money, and a good living. Regardless of what you think about the people over there, it's a different breed of people, but economically and then financially and, being a success, fuck it. Fuck Canada. Go to the US, man. That's it.
Immigration is going to be Canada's downfall. And take this from an immigrant that came into this country. The immigration that we have today is completely uncontrolled. It is completely relentless, and the numbers do not make any sense at all. In fact, it's creating massive problems for our healthcare, for Canadians, for our taxes, for housing affordability. People have no idea how intertwined everything is. And it's much worse than you can possibly imagine. Yes, it even affects your safety. Yesterday there was a ruling by a judge who said that there's a person who needs to be deported and they are an immediate threat to our society. They pose a risk for all of us. But he gets to stay in the country, and you want to know why? He cited that fact that his wife has ADHD. Because his wife has ADHD, it's going to pose such significant problems for her that he gets to stay. I'm sorry, but that right of you staying in the country went out the window the second you broke the law and you decided to not integrate into our society. Instead, you decided to raid it, and you decided to prey upon us Canadians. And this issue affects every Canadian. Criminals do not care who you voted for. They don't care if you're a Liberal. They don't care if you like the NDP or if you're a Conservative. None of that matters to them. What matters is that they get to get whatever you have, whatever you worked for, that you paid with your after-tax dollars. And worse, they come after our daughters, our wives, our girlfriends, our mothers. Do you have any idea how many cases have been stayed because our system is overwhelmed? It's not Canadians that are predominantly creating these issues. There is a consistent correlation between the number of immigrants that are coming into our country, committing these crimes, and getting out on bail. It's an endless cycle of madness. There's a reason our healthcare can't keep up with this. Immigration, it's our downfall, without a question.
And that's the hidden cost of shrinkflation in Canada. It may look like a slightly smaller cereal box or a few less chips in a bag, but what it really represents is something much bigger: a quiet erosion of trust, dignity, and fairness in the lives of Canadians. Because let's be honest, this isn't just a clever business move. This is a deliberate strategy to squeeze Canadians without sparking outrage. It's psychological. Companies know that if they raise prices outright, people will notice. But if they shrink the product, take away a few grams here, a couple of slices there, most people are too busy, too stressed, or too tired to catch it. And by the time we realize it, the damage is already done. Now think about the impact. A parent buys snacks for their kids, only to realize the box runs out days sooner than it used to. A senior on a fixed income buys juice, bread, or cheese, and notices the portions don't stretch like they once did. A young worker, already struggling with rent and bills, wonders why groceries just don't last the week anymore. Shrinkflation doesn't just steal from your wallet, it steals from your table, your peace of mind, and your sense of security. And let's not forget, the people at the top aren't suffering. Grocery executives are celebrating record profits. Shareholders are cashing in. Meanwhile, food banks are overwhelmed and Canadians are lining up just to feed their families. That gap, that divide, is what makes shrinkflation so cruel. It's not necessity, it's profit-driven. So here's what we need to do. First, keep talking about it, call it out. Share your shrinkflation stories. Did your favorite snack shrink? Did your pasta box get lighter? Did your bread loaf lose slices? Let's shine a light on this trick, because silence only protects those who benefit from it. Second, hold leaders accountable. Why are corporations allowed to quietly reduce product sizes with no transparency? Why aren't consumers warned? This isn't just a grocery store problem, it's a regulatory failure. Canadians deserve honesty, not hidden costs. And finally, let's support each other. Times are tough, and it's easy to feel isolated in the struggle, but you're not alone. Millions of Canadians are feeling the same frustration, the same betrayal, and the same exhaustion. By speaking out together, we turn individual anger into collective pressure, and that's when real change can happen. And if you believe these conversations matter, if you're tired of paying more for less, then hit that subscribe button and join us here at Canadian Rant. This isn't just a channel, it's a community, a place where Canadians finally get to be heard, because at the end of the day, no Canadian should ever be tricked at the checkout. No Canadian should feel like their hard-earned money buys less and less every single week. And no Canadian should be treated like they won't notice. Together, we can push back against this greed, demand transparency, and fight for fairness. This is Canadian Rant. Your voice, your fight, your community.